A coffee.
Well, if no one's gonna drink this, maybe I'll just... Ugh, that's terrible. That's...
That's me in the morning.
Yeah, we knew that.
I'm a little girl. Well, I was playing that game last night. You pick a coin out of a bag to see what character you're going to play. And the last round I played Little Flower Girl. And I just kept talking with that voice the whole game. Man, I shouldn't drink before gaming. I really shouldn't.
That's a very disturbing scenario, if you ask me.
I'm a little girl.
And it's even crazier in my mind's eye.
Yeah. You know, she like Pop-Tart. I'm a little girl. Girls like Pop-Tarts.
What's your preferred pronoun, by the way?
Jack and ass.
Jack and ass. There you go. I guess fucking face. Andy Morrow is here. Penny is here. Sox Bulletin's here too. Good morning, guys. It is Friday morning, end of the week for most people. There's no such thing for freelancers, but every day it's a work day. But I still love Fridays, man. When I was a kid, I don't know if you guys remember the show that was trying to compete with Saturday Night Live. Was called Fridays on ABC, and it's where Michael Richards got his break into television. Does anybody remember that show?
I vaguely remember it. I never watched it, but
it's the series where Andy, what's his name? The comedian that died of cancer, Andy
Kaufman,
did that famous trolling of the audience and the cast. And he and one or two other members of the cast were aware of what was going to happen. And they lose it live on camera and he gets hit. And they disrupted the entire show. And it made headlines. But the fact was, it was done on purpose, staged. And love that show, man. It was great. But anyway, Willie the Monkey King is here. And we are going to be talking about 3 shows. We're finally going to finish Hello Tomorrow with the finale.
Oh, by the
We're
way,
going to talk.
I couldn't rewatch the finale because F Movies is only going up to episode 9. It's so
What
weird.
about
I couldn't find
Putlocker?
it anywhere. I couldn't find it anywhere.
How bizarre.
I think I found one, but it was 404 taken down. So I have to do
That's
that
so
one
weird
from memory.
because usually there's at least 1 or 2 that are still available. Because I'm looking at it right now. I'm in F Movies and episode 10 is still available for me.
Well, it's
I'm
not
looking
for
at it
me.
right now.
that's weird.
That's really odd. But anyway, all right.
They're probably on different mirrors.
Yeah, I go to fmovies.to.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, well, okay, there goes that theory.
Yeah, now I'm really confounded. But what show do we want to start with, guys? Hello Tomorrow and wrap that one up.
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, we will go into that. Let me get the background for us. Yeah, give me a moment. I got to get to the other screen. There we go. There we are. Tomorrow. So let's get this show started because in this episode it starts on what's his name, the guy with the cleft palate,
Lester.
Lester.
Yeah.
And it opens with him. I can't remember what he's doing, but he's at his computer, right?
Well, he's
It's
trying
gonna-
to find everything he needs to stop the launch from happening.
Yeah.
That's what I
Well,
remember.
just so you all know, I haven't seen this yet. I have it, but I haven't watched it. So my participation is going to be pretty slight.
Yeah, I really, I'm hoping you've watched a little bit of Florida Man, but really From is, we'll probably do that one second. Because I know that's the one you're watching religiously with us. So yeah, Lester is making a phone call, calling into his home office, or what is he doing?
I thought he was calling Joey, wasn't he?
Is that what it is?
Well,
That's
Joey's
right.
supposed to
He was
get
gonna do
evidence
the
for him.
recording. That's right. The
Yeah.
evidence.
Yeah.
Record the evidence, and he didn't.
He did, but he decides not to use it.
And he
Yeah.
tells he tells him you've got a legal obligation. But in reality, unless if this is not like something that's been ordered from the top down through the IRS or something like that, because I don't know who he is really. Is he IRS? I've never understood who he works for.
We
He's a
don't really know that.
He's a government stooge of some kind, but I don't know. He seems really low level. So like
Yeah.
doing this is like sounds like something he did on his own without like permission. So he's telling him he's got a legal obligation and shit. And Joey's, because of what happened at the end of the last episode, is clearly having second thoughts because he feels like he finally got through to his dad, and it looks like his dad finally got through to him.
Yeah.
Jack gave him a full confession. I told him, if you have to use it, do what you have to do. But he decides not to, but he still tries to talk Jack out of the launch because there's nothing up there.
And of course, and then he's basically dragging his feet at this point and not sure how he's going to get out of it, Joey. Then we cut to his dad is being dropped off by the rich lady, and she's all in, and they're smooching out in front of the hotel where his office is. And she's all in, in this deal because she believes it's a scam. And they're going to get their money back immediately, a Ponzi scheme.
She's all in, but with a very different plan from what Jack has. No, I don't think she won a Ponzi scheme. Remember that when Jack says it.
But she's
you
ready to sell them all this land, and she believes there's no land up there.
Yeah, but hear me out. Jack, in the first meeting they have in her limo, he says to her, "You just want something to get away with." So she doesn't want the money. She doesn't want the scheme. She wants to
so
troll
you think she's
all the
in it for the
people.
game?
Yeah, she only wants to troll everybody, to fuck with everybody, because she's bored.
Because I know she wants to take the investors' money. She's excited by that. So I get what you're saying. And then we get the next scene is after she drives away, we run into what's his name with the robotic hand because his hand got burned. That was fucking traumatic when his hand got burned off.
Okay,
I was like in the back of my seat going, "What the hell? This is a comedy. Like, what the fuck?" They shove his arm, that gangster guy that he owes money to, puts his hand in a laser toaster. And it melts his hand off.
Sal is the gangster's name. Yeah, and she shows up and threatens Eddie and Cheryl, and Eddie grabs him and can't undo his hand, and he appears to choke him to death, but it turns out later he didn't.
Ed is an honorary Skywalker now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, cut off by a laser. There you go. It's this VPN that shit animal might be
Anima.
local. Oh, for Anima. Got you.
I don't have VPN anymore. I let it run out since I don't need it for German TV stuff anymore since I'm back in Austria.
Yeah, and by the way, I did think that he had strangled him to death because that
Yeah,
robotic
you're
hand really
supposed-
nailed him.
You're supposed to think that because they put him in a body bag and smuggle him on the rocket. And it's
But
a very
then he
funny
wait-
moment when at the
That's
end he
right.
wakes up.
Yeah, we don't want to give that. Oh, it's too late. We already gave it away.
Sorry.
So yeah, yeah, because that leads to a really funny oh fuck moment. And so Jack walks up and sees him there with his robotic hand with the thumb up and shit. Yeah, fine tuning it. And but they're still not happy with Jack.
No.
So
Well, he's got this plan to trap him in the elevator. All the
Right, the vests. He says they don't have the vests for the launch and they have to go get them, and then he traps them in the elevator.
Yeah.
Because he knows that there's no houses up there, so they can't go up there. He's got to find a way to make it look like it was accidental and not on purpose. So he that is such a great scene.
He needs to launch the rocket, but empty.
Yep.
Oh man, I gotta say, I am very disappointed with the path Cheryl has taken.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's
on the
kind
dark side now.
kind of a bad guy now. She's mad at him for doing what he's doing.
And she has embraced all of Ed's bad qualities.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, they're gambling together, cheating.
And knowingly gambling with somebody else's money.
Oh yeah.
And blackmailing her friend.
Oh yeah.
That's
shit.
the part that,
Yeah, she blackmails her friend. And so it's ironic that you see this flip in the characters, because Jack, who's technically been a criminal the whole show by lying, is, like I said, he's an agent of good. He's trying to do the right thing and has lied doing it and gotten himself into a tight pickle, and while everybody else is mad at him, are now doing bad things, including Crazy Girl.
Yeah.
She and the agent
Myrtle.
were just, ready to destroy everything. And then suddenly she wakes up and poor, what's his name is like freaked out. Like he's still trying to go, well, I can still get information. She goes, you just don't get it, and gets out of the car.
Well, when he comes to the rocket, because she wants to go up there to the moon, and when he comes to stop the launch, she thinks he's coming to go with her, and gets very upset when he's still collecting materials.
she wants him to go with her, and he wants her to stay with him. That's the problem.
And then, of course, Jack's mom visits the comatose mom.
Yeah.
In the hospital. And this is the big episode that I predicted. I kept saying this has got to happen this season.
Finally, yeah.
Her waking up is the thing that's going to lead to the cliffhanger for the series, is what I said. And it does exactly that, and in spades. It went in a way that I was not fully expecting, and I kind of liked it. Well, but so Jack's mom visits Joey's mom in the hospital, and she's laying there, and you're just automatically like expecting her to wake up, the way they showed the camera angle on her, because her head's not facing there, and her eyes like begin moving, and her head's turned slightly to the side instead of straight forward.
Didn't Jack's mom leave a photo of him?
Yes.
Bed?
Put a picture of Jack on the side of the bed,
and that's the first thing that she sees when she wakes up.
Yep. So then we go back to the launching pad, and we see Jack with what's his name, Walter. He's got the damn leather pilot's cap on now. He's got the coolest hats.
We forgot to mention that Jack has Joey back on his side.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of the phone conversation, Joey is clearly back on his side. Yeah, and but what's he going to do with the recording? What's he going to do with it? Because he still has that recording. And you just don't know. He's got to find a way out of it. Because once again, he's been threatened with legal obligation. So,
well, I think that problem is solved when Lester turns around and dismisses his suitcase and goes to join Myrtle. I think that
And
just makes the recording useless.
Yep.
Yeah.
And of course, we have this great cut back to the hotel, and we see Cheryl and what's his name, and he
Eddie.
still hasn't fine-tuned his hand, and every glass he picks up, he crushes.
So he's downgraded to paper cups.
And that's what she does. She hands it to him, and he grabs it and he crushes it. And this is when the gangster shows back up. Pissed, knocks the shit out of Cheryl. And that's where his hand is forced, literally, his robotic hand, to defend her. And he grabs him, and the grip is going to kill him. And she's yelling, let him go. He's like, I can't, I'm trying. It's like, you can't let go. Takes him to the ground. So freaking cool. And I really did. I thought he killed him. I figured he crushed his throat.
You're supposed to think that.
Yeah, I know. And so we're back at the Brightside launch, and there's Joey with the tape, telling his dad, I got the tape. And it's what you say here that's going to make or break this moment for me, and they have this great talk, and, and then what's her name shows up, the rich girl that wants to back him and have fun.
Yeah.
Ripping
Mrs.
people
Selwyn.
up. And so I can't remember what they were discussing in that scene, but I just remember she shows up, and it's like they go on the elevator to go up to the rocket, right?
Jack gives her the launch button because they got the call from Barbara that Maurice has woken up. So Jack and Joey want to go to the hospital to see her.
Yeah.
So they leave her in charge of the launch.
Yeah,
And
but
she doesn't-
everybody's up there, though. We're
Nope.
leaving
They're
that
stuck in the
part where
elevator. They're stuck in the
not
elevator.
there. We're not there
No.
yet. We
okay.
show they're in the elevator going up, and when they get to the top, there in the waiting area is like everybody
Well,
waiting to get on that rocket.
Jack's
Yeah,
the one
because
that
freaking
that's-
Betty and Herb let him out. Because Betty's the real villain of this series. as
This
far as
hasn't
I'm
happened
concerned.
yet. We haven't
That
gotten to
hasn't
that.
happened.
No.
We haven't gotten.
No.
Wait.
Right
Jack
now, this is
a-
when they first arrive there with Joey,
Oh,
what's
okay.
her name, and Jack come up in the elevator, and everybody's up there waiting. And this is
Yeah.
where he forms his plan of how to make this happen.
Okay,
So-
I got
so he's-
things ahead. Sorry.
No,
Cart
that's
before
okay.
horse.
Yeah, me too.
Uh,
I don't have chronological order.
Because this is where Joey and the guy with the cleft lip,
Lester.
Lester.
they have their little confrontation. He goes, "You have something for me, right?" Remember that?
Yeah.
And this is where he
Yeah.
makes his decision of what he's going to do.
And stick to his dad.
yeah,
right?
and
And then-
he chooses dad.
And then that's the moment in which they put all the people in the elevator, and it's Jack personally who disables the elevator.
Yeah.
Hey, Real Wade.
Oh, Wade's here.
Welcome.
What's up, buddy? So we've got that, and we're basically, building up to the big scheme, whatever you want to call it. Trying to think. Oh man, he hands him the tape recorder without the recording.
Right. Yeah.
What was his explanation? I can't remember. He just, gosh, sorry, I lost the tape or some shit like that. I can't remember.
I can't. I'm sorry. It's been like more than 2 weeks since I saw that.
I
Yeah.
think.
But then
I
they
think
get,
he's-
he and Joey go on the rocket because he wants to show Joey the rocket, what it looks like inside. And then what's her name? Crazy girl. She sees that Lester is there and gets happy and hugs him. And
Murder,
then she
yeah,
gets
and
mad
she-
at him.
Because
gets
he's
mad
not
at
there to join her. He's there to stop the launch.
And then
And
she
she's
walks
so
away
pissed.
from him.
Well, she
And this
keeps
leads to
telling
a
him
funny-
to stop doing that.
Yeah, you need to stop. But what I love in this is again, when we establish that fucking floating briefcase of his, because that's one of my favorite gags in the whole show
It
at
is.
the end. Because he's trying to get away from his bag. He's like, go. Like it's a dog. Go home. Leave me alone. And it just keeps trying to follow him, and he fucking kills the bag.
Yeah.
Stomps it and crushes
That
it
was
into the
that was
ground.
great.
That was so funny. I'm like, oh my God. It's like, because the first thing that was in my mind, it's like a dog trying to follow him. It's like, he kills the fucking bag. Like he's killing the dog. It's crazy. But
But
they're
it's
all boarding the
symbolic.
ship.
He's killing his career with doing
Yeah.
that.
Really, it is. It represents his career because it's over, you know, and he chooses her. And this is really what this entire show is about: is people choosing people. Cheryl chooses to do what she does with what's his name, with the robot
Eddie.
hand.
Yes.
And you know, and then at the end we have another choice that's made with Joey choosing to keep peace with Dad, because I mean, let's just get into it and just say what happens is when she wakes up, she doesn't have any memory.
Oh, and she goes home immediately. That was so
it's
stupid.
Not just retrograde amnesia. She has a complete lapse of memory of an adult son. Her son in her mind is still a kid, and Dad hasn't left yet.
I think she doesn't remember having a son.
Is it that much?
Yeah,
yeah,
she doesn't.
She just remembers Jack.
Yeah, she remembers Jack, but she doesn't remember to get even that they got married. She doesn't remember.
Yeah,
that.
it goes far back. So Jack and Joey fill her in, but they lie. They pretend they've been a happy family for the past 20 years, and she picks up something because in the end she says something like, "We weren't all that happy, right?"
Yeah, we weren't all. Yeah, the last thing that's said as we fade out from the episode is, "Yeah, we weren't always happy, were we?" Not really.
She isn't buying all the stuff.
Yeah, so
well,
it's because they try to give you that Norman Rockwell kind of ending with them all around the table, and it's clearly imperfect. You also have the elevator scene because they leave. Joey and Jack leave and give her the button to launch, but they've already set it up that everybody is trapped in the elevator. But Cheryl and what's his name get there, and they sneak the body in because they think he's dead onto the rocket, and then help everybody like turn the elevator back on, and then everybody gets in the fucking
Lester,
rocket.
I think.
No, that's Herb and Betty.
Yeah, it's Herb and Betty that do it, and so they're all there, and they all board the fucking rocket, and they launch. It actually launches. And I don't think Jack knows at the end because he sees the rocket launch.
He sees the rocket, but he believes it's empty.
Because that Norman Rockwell moment where they're all sitting there, him, his now awake ex-wife who doesn't remember any of the negative shit, looks out and sees the rocket going up, and they're all watching it and no idea what the fuck is about to happen to them. And I've already predicted what I think is going to happen. They're going to live in the Quonset huts. And they're going to have food shipped up to them, and they're going to start building. And but people are going to be fucking angry when they get to the moon, and the houses aren't already done.
Well, the plan was for more people to see the rocket launch, so they invest and they can finally start building up there. That's why you needed to launch the rocket empty.
Yeah,
but that's
so now I suspect they're going to have to have false reports again from the moon with people living up there in order to sell, because they know people are up there. But oh my god, this next season, I hope it gets greenlit. I really do, because I can hardly wait till he gets his deals with this chaos that's been created.
Yeah,
but like I said, he is an agent of good. He's trying to do the right thing. He's just gone about it in a very weird and wrong way by lying to people. Because it comes across as a scam, but he really wants to do this. And but it's what is it? The cart before the horse?
Yeah.
Situation. And but I got to tell you, I love the writing on this show. I love the dynamic of the relationships. I love the comedy. I mean,
I just really hope they don't fuck it up in the second season. When
the young black couple in that episode where they're at the dance and the curtain gets torn down by Hank Azaria, the robot fighting over the microphone, and that curtain comes down and you see the young couple back there fucking. Because they're like so
almost
good.
Almost.
They're like totally G-rated couple, and they're the ones who don't cuss. They find other words like fudge.
Yeah.
And they're back there trying to do the dirty. I enjoyed the show. Did you guys enjoy the show?
They're trying to make the twins come true.
That's
the optimistic twins.
Yeah, the optimistic twins. What do you guys think though of the season? What was your overall feeling of the season?
I liked it. It was a lot different than I was expecting going in, but
Was it a satisfying ending for
Yeah.
the first season?
Well, except for that cliffhanger.
Gives you enough. Well, I like that cliffhanger because, but the thing with that cliffhanger, if they don't get a second season, we don't get an answer.
That is my problem. I hate cliffhangers unless the next season is confirmed. Then I'm okay.
And the cliffhanger here is they're going up. And what's going to happen next? I got to know. I hope they get a second season, man, because I'm really 100% into this show.
I don't want another 1899 moment when you
I
find
love
out
the
you're not getting answers.
Please don't.
Yeah, right.
You love the what?
I love the aesthetics of this show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because it's very, very much clearly inspired by that game.
Fallout.
You know, I forget the name of it, you know, because like steampunk is the stylistic where it's like 50s, but it's a futuristic 50s. And that's what they're doing in the show.
That's Rocket Punk.
Yeah, Rocket Punk. I like the way they do that. And it's like you have this whole thing where clearly there were cars with wheels not that long before this, because you see a 1940s truck.
The van the family lives in,
it's a truck.
No. It's a truck. The family is over. The one with wheels is Walt's truck. Yeah,
Walter's is. Okay. I just know that there at the rocket pad, you see a vehicle with wheels. And it's like, so clearly they did an evolutionary jump in science.
I thought that was the family's van, sorry.
And it'd be funny if you found out it was Roswell. But anyway, so they have this leap in technology in the 50s. And so basically everything that we used to read in like Popular Mechanics, and I always call on that magazine because a lot of the stuff you see in this show looks like it came out of the pages of Popular Mechanics. The dreams of future TVs, robots. All the robots look like canister vacuums from the 50s and 40s.
Yeah.
I love that.
They look like Vincent.
Vincent, that's right, from Black Hole. But it's a great show. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I really hope and cross my fingers we're going to get greenlit. And of course, we'll update you guys if it does get greenlit for a second season. Yeah. And if you've not watched this show, guys, highly recommend it. If you enjoy a little comedy, a little sci-fi. And I got to tell you, the sci-fi part of the show, check your brain at the door. You cannot stand under a landing rocket and survive.
No.
It doesn't happen that way.
Or had a robot that is a
It's just a show where you...
What? Hold on. Hold on, Anima. What, Martin?
Or the robot bartender who serves the drinks from its own body without space for storage.
Where's the storage? Where's the fucking booze? You know?
Yeah,
that's just really weird. It's just, check your brain at the door.
It's funny as hell, man.
Yeah, just lean back and enjoy it. Just have fun with it. It's weird and it's incorrect scientifically, but it doesn't matter. It's just to have fun.
It's just fun. It's
the only drawback is it's on Apple TV, which is the smallest streaming service.
And oddly, it is. It's got the lowest numbers, but it has some of the best original TV and movies. I mean, I've made fun of some of the stuff they make. It's just a little bits here and there. Like I thought that one movie with Tom Hanks, the robot one, was just dumb. But I like the show For All Mankind. Yeah, I like that show.
That's one of my favorite shows.
It's woke in a believable way.
Yeah.
It does everything in a very interesting and believable way. Good writing, good characters, heroic. I mean, it's in the 90s and we're already on Mars, because the space race is still going on because we lost the first one. So now the race is on for Mars. And then, we leave off with the only way to stay alive is we all have to work together, all these nations, even though they're lying to each other in the process, keeping their secrets. But For All Mankind, another good show. Now we can go on to the next show. What shall we talk about next? Florida Man or go straight for From?
Let's do From.
That's what Don's here for, is From.
All right. Well, it's just we only have a half hour to talk about it. And we have to finish it before the half hour.
We can finish it after the break.
The only guy we see is the creepy one.
Yeah, that dude is so creepy in the show. And I guess he had such a reaction from the audience that they put him in the promo for season 2. Because everybody was like, "What's wrong with that guy's face? Nobody smiles like that." He looks like he's been poisoned by the Joker.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're talking about episode 2. Episode 1 left us off where? I forgot.
They get the people from the bus into the diner because night is coming, and they
Yeah,
freak
she
out when the
shot the
house
tire out.
collapses.
Yeah, and she
Yeah, but they
shoots the tire out.
freak out when the house collapses and buries the people under there, and they have to leave them there and hide them for the night because there's not enough time to get them out.
And the sheriff went into a faraway tree, and he ended up in a very weird spot.
And you
With
know,
the
I
chicken
want
leg
to talk
too.
about that. This is why this is going to last longer. It's got to go into after the commercial break, because I believe that there's it's not just physical travel. I think there's time travel. I think
there
that
is,
dungeon
absolutely.
scene is from the past, and that's why when you see him go through that door and he's suddenly out in the middle of the forest,
In
surrounded
ruins.
by ruins.
Yeah, that's a
Ruins,
time
Brian.
jump.
Ruins.
That's a time jump for sure.
I believe that's not just a spatial jump, it is a time jump. And that's freaking me out. I think this season is not written as well. I think it's the blame of the new writer that joined them. And of course, he's a J.J. Abrams acolyte from Lost. And this show, potentially, this is my fear, is that they're going to fall under the same stupid curse if they're not careful that they did with Lost, which is as they move towards something because fans figure it out, they change their mind and make it, oh, no, it's not that. When really, in the end, it really is that, because it's the only place they can go. And then eventually when they go there, it left remember how pissed everybody was at the end of Lost? They just really angry. It's like, so it was this all along, like we had said it was, and you said it wasn't. You lying bastards.
I didn't watch
Just
it.
don't say anything and just do the fucking story. You know? But that's my fear. And the J.J. Abrams acolytes have a tendency of starting out really good and then their writing drops, the quality of their writing. But Dawn brings up something on this episode that I had a problem with, which is the chances of that bus arriving with the fiance of the town doctor. And she is, by the way, for all means and purposes, a doctor. She has an EMS uniform on because that's probably all that was available. But the fact is she's actually a doctor that just never finished her internship. So she's doing her internship in this alternate universe.
Okay.
So she's still a doctor. The problem is they don't have everything they need. And which poses the question that still pops up with this show, like they're suddenly out of things. And they said, we never run out of things, but suddenly they're out of things. And this is what I think is going on, Don. And I'm curious how you respond to this. I believe that bus arrived for whatever ulterior motive having her involved, the nurse, girlfriend, fiance. I think that that Victor went up on that hill and started digging graves because he knew what was coming, that they were all about to die. And the bus showing up kind of ensures that, because all these new people arrive, so the others had to die, but they didn't die because something happened that wasn't supposed to happen.
I think the problem with Victor is he has information that he can't process.
Well, he doesn't know how to process it. He's clearly Asperger's, or he's on the spectrum.
I believe Victor is, number one, prescient. Okay. I
Aware.
totally agree that he is having a hard time processing the information. But those graves, when he dug those graves, I was like, oh my God, what is this? But then what happened? Colonial House ended up being infiltrated and hit. Okay. That one occupant of Colonial House thought he was having some kind of relationship with one of those monster girls. And as soon as I saw her talking to him through the window, you knew what was going to happen.
Oh,
He
yeah.
opened the window, she came in, and that was an invite for everybody else, and they got hit big time. Now, they never really did say how many people ended up dying, but you know a bunch of people, in fact, died there. So
Yeah.
Victor, I think the graves had more to do with Colonial House being hit than the bus coming in. But they needed fresh fodder. Okay.
And that's what the bus was about.
Right. The bus was all about that. And a lot of people ended up actually being taken that night. Okay. Now I look, I've already seen episode 3. We all have probably.
Yeah.
But I don't want to get too far into that. But the bottom line was, I believe, and Gary, this is what I told you initially, that the bus was directed there by some.
They sought it out. It wasn't like it just happened onto that road and it got selected. It was sought out because there's no other reasonable reason for the fiance to be on there. And I am really thrown off by the black kid because he seems aware of this place. And
he had
like,
dreams.
wow. Yeah. So there's something more going on here. And I believe that this really does play into what you and I've talked about with alien abductions, because these aren't extraterrestrial. They're alternate universe terrestrials. That they're creatures that live in another dimension. And they like to venture into ours. Just like it's one of the theories with aliens, and that these extraterrestrial abductions aren't what we think they are. They're something else. And that's what this show, I think, is playing with. And I think that's what you're thinking too. So I'm still enjoying the plot of the show. I'm just having problems with little bits here and there. But the two solid standout, again, performances on the show are Harold Perrineau as Boyd, the town sheriff, and the dad, Bailey, Ian Bailey, plays the dad. And their performances are amazing.
He doesn't even play that much. He's stuck under the house the entire
stuck under the
episode.
house. But those are some intense scenes.
Oh, yeah.
Because people are the two other guys that are under there with him are murdered.
No, one dies of his injuries, the bus guy.
One dies from the injuries, the other one is killed.
But he's so loud in dying that one of the creatures finds them and kills them.
He won't stop screaming.
Yeah.
You're going to bring him here. You're going to bring him down here. But very intense scene. The one thing we haven't seen this season so far until the third episode is, what's her name? Sarah, who tried to murder the boy and ended up killing her brother.
Oh, yeah, right. Because
she told Boyd, go into the tree and I'll be right behind you. And she never arrives. So that'll be next episode, because we finally find out what's going on with her. We go episode 1 and 2, nothing. And, even Boyd's like, she said she was right behind me. The one thing I will say about this episode that drove me crazy is Tabitha's character. Mom, she's just nothing but noise. She
wasn't as bad as in the first one.
She's still just like heavy breathing all the time, very dramatic, overly dramatic.
Thank you, John.
Scared the shit out of me, John.
Yeah, me too. I jumped.
What the fuck happened to my ears?
ASMR with John.
Yeah, did anybody see my eyes? I went like that. Like, what the fuck is that?
Dude, I jumped.
I did too. I went, like, what the fuck? Oh, it's John.
Yeah, so, sons of bitches.
Sons of bitches. Even though I suspect that he's going to die this season, Jade is more interesting this season. I have to tell you, I find his character more interesting because he's becoming more and more invasive.
I still want to slap his ass around the room.
He deserves bitch slapping like crazy. He goes into Victor's room and just starts taking a bunch of his stuff because Victor's missing. He's in the cave system, right? So let's get into this episode too, because it starts with, are they out of the tunnels or they're still in the tunnel?
It starts with Boyd and Chicken Leg Dude, and he finds out that he is Marine, ex-Marine.
Yes.
So he tells him, "Yeah, I'm not leaving you there, and I'm not killing you. I'm getting you out." So he's trying to break him off the wall, to break his chains.
And of course, just like with electricity, there's nonsensical torches that just happen to still be lit in this room. You know, this dungeon.
Well, I'll tell you another indicator that there's something a lot more behind the scenes lurking is the fact that here's this guy stuck to the wall for God only knows how long. It can't be natural unless the monsters were bringing him food and water or something, and I can't imagine that. So there's something supernaturally weird about that.
Yeah,
He
there's
tells
something
him-
not natural about it
He
at all.
tells Boyd that the monsters are just the tip of the spear, and there are things so bad that no human should.
And I'm going to go ahead
them
and
and
reveal
witness
part
them.
of it that's revealed here is that in the dungeon scene, he won't leave him. Boyd won't leave him, and he's like, "You can kill me," you know, because he wants to die. He wants to die. He is withered away to nearly nothing, and while he's trying to, he gets one arm free. And he's working on the other arm. Suddenly you see worm-like things crawling under his skin. This old, ancient-looking Marine that's withered away.
Before that, music starts playing, and the old
And
guy
it-
tells
and
Boyd,
that's-
"Get
it's
out
letting him
here
know-
before the music stops."
Because
And
when the
he's not
music stops,
stopping.
they arrive, and I'm like, well, they arrived to put the music box. That was so weird. I'm like, who put the
Yeah.
music box there? So it's like, it's almost like they put it there to taunt. It's like, you know, we're already here, but we're just gonna take our time getting to you, and I don't know, maybe they have some sort of teleportation. It was teleported into the room. I don't know, but the music box, when it winds down, finishes playing, they arrive. So he's got seconds, clearly seconds. It's the ticking clock. And he gets the one arm down. He's working on the second arm. And the guy lashes out with his one free hand. And you discover the worm thing. And he says, my blood is your blood now. And he cuts him and bleeds into his
infects him,
open
yeah.
wound and infects him with these things.
And then he dies.
Well, you aren't sure because you don't, like, it's so quick, and then he dies. And then Boyd runs out the door and is suddenly in the middle of the woods amongst the ruins. And again, I believe this is not traveling from one location to another. I believe this is time. That those ruins is the old castle that used to be there.
Well, remember when Boyd and Sarah were still out in the woods trying to get to the other side of the forest, they reached a spot where there was a tree with a lot of bottles hanging from the tree with notes in it. And one of the notes said 1861. Now,
yeah, and we know that the Civil War, because you see a guy from the Civil War shoot Jade. Remember that? So we know that this goes back at least that far, but I think it goes way further, and this dungeon's proof of that. So yeah.
Now I'm going to tell you the biggest problem I have up to now with this. You ready, Gary?
Yeah.
Okay. We know, because we've seen it, that these creatures cannot be stopped by modern firearms.
Why aren't they? Yeah, agreed. Go ahead. I know where you're going.
Okay. And we know that there are at least one or two members of this community there that have military background, Boyd being one of them. Okay. And
right.
we already know he was an Afghanistani vet. So I can't understand why they haven't gravitated to the point, well, bullets won't stop these things. What about edged weapons will take their heads off? And that's bothered me from almost day one. Why haven't
it bothers
they...
me too. It's like, why haven't they made a trap that will eviscerate or decapitate. Near one of the
try with
houses to
fire?
try it out.
There are other things. Fire. They have petroleum products. They still have some vehicles that run. Gasoline. Okay. I mean, being in a combat situation, all these things ran through my mind, that you have this implacable enemy out there just picking you off as they wish, and nobody really has made a concerted defensive effort to stop these things other than using their talismans, okay, which at best is only a stopgap thing.
Right.
Yeah, you brought that up, Gary, when we watched it.
Yeah, it's like, first of all, I don't think they're new. I think they're ancient, and clearly meant to look like runestones. They're designed to look like runestones of some sort. But we also discovered in this episode, I wanted to get into this, is Victor has a little Connex trailer out in the middle of nowhere with shit in it, his gear. Not like shit, but like his shit in it. And
that's why he goes with Tabitha to spend the night, because they're too far away from the town.
They hide there, and some of the people, as you know, were stupid and left the confines of the cafe. And so, as I recall, somebody find their way to them, and they save
the black kid from the bus.
Yeah.
First Boyd arrives, and then the kid comes, and the people from the forest, the people that Boyd saw in the forest.
Give me his bowl.
They almost catch the boy, and he barely makes it to the truck, and they shut the door.
Yeah, I think that one of the biggest problems of this show is focusing on the personal drama, and the personal drama comes across as very forced, because once again, too many scenes with the town doctor and her fiance.
Oh, dude, I skipped through those. I hate them.
You have to, because it's like, and I'll say this, if you can skip through a scene and it has no impact on the story, they're not essential scenes, and they're put there for other reasons. It doesn't add
anything but artificial drama.
It's artificial drama, and I dislike artificial drama. The drama should come through what they're dealing with. So this is put there, and I absolutely refer to this as a checkbox drama. This is there for a certain percentage of the audience, and it's not for any other reason than to placate somebody.
Well, they had to have just a touch of wokeism in there, Gary.
Yeah,
just a touch.
So, but you can just do like Anima and me. We just like boop, boop, fast forward, skip through.
I have a full page of notes about this episode, and they are not mentioned in there. I just ignored
the story means nothing. They're not using it in a way that matters. That's the problem. If you're gonna do this, make it matter. And they don't make it matter. They don't make the drama matter. It's just a bunch of stuff, as Homer Simpson would say. That classic episode of Simpsons when everybody's like, "Well, I guess the moral of the story is there's no Marge breaks it. There's no moral to the story. This happened because of this." And Homer goes, "What are you guys talking about? It's just a bunch of stuff that happened." I'm like, thank you, Homer, for being the voice of reason. Everybody trying to tell that this has happened because of this. It's like, it's sort of like I got mad at a friend of mine the other day. I don't want to get mad at him, but it annoys me when they said, "God saved this kid." And I said, well, what about all the other kids that didn't get saved in those given situations? Are you saying that God is picky and handpicks who's going to get saved and who has to die? You're making God sound like a jerk, right? When you do that. So, and it's sort of the same thing with this stuff. It's like the writers look like jerks because they pick and choose when they're going to do the drama, and drama makes no sense. It doesn't have anything to do with what's going on. And I hate that. I just really despise when people do that. They're writing for something other than telling the story. So when you fast forward to the scene with them, because I don't mind the establishment of these characters and them having a few moments, but not these long scenes. It's ridiculous. It's wasteful story. This is time when you could be telling a story. And it's the same thing with Tabitha, fucking heavy breathing all the time in a panic mode. and making noise all the time. It's annoying noise. The kind of noise that as a human being, if it was happening to us in the room, we would turn around and go, shut the fuck up. Jesus Christ, you're trying to get us killed.
She's important in this episode, though, because she is Vincent's dialogue partner, because she starts asking questions that he doesn't really want to answer, but he does give her some
Oh, you mean
answers. Victor,
Victor.
yeah. He tells her he got most of his stuff in the truck from when new people come, but this hasn't happened that often lately. So that's an important piece of information there. And also when Boyd and the kid joined them and they talk and just try to pass the night, he's being asked what he's drawing, and he tells them he's drawing the things he sees, because if he forgets or can't remember, was it real or was it a dream, the pictures remember.
Well, Victor is actually, I think, an underappreciated character, because his character,
too. Yeah,
his character has, excuse me, been there since he was a little boy.
He will
and
have his moment.
That really has not been firmly established, I don't think. He's been there for decades.
It comes up here and there, and I think it's building up to him having his moment. It's just a very slow build up.
I think it is a slow burn. I do want to point out, too, the thing that bugs me is the bartender is in the house, the crushed house. He's trapped in there, too, okay? And they've completely forgotten the mystery of him being on the radio with the dad and Jay when they do the radio thing. That's his voice saying, "Why is your wife digging holes?" That's the bartender that says that. He's the only one not up there, but it's also, you recognize his voice. And it's clearly somebody who knows him. What was that all about? And it seems like a plot point that they just sort of like let go of. Oh, that's not important now.
Yeah, well, and he's killed, the bartender.
He dies in the fucking house
when the monster,
without answering this mystery. Like, why was he on the radio? And where's his radio? He has a radio. The bartender had a radio because he's talking to him on the radio, right? Yeah. What the fuck was that about? I don't know if they wrote themselves into a corner and just said, we better just pretend that never happened and just say, oh, his voice was being imitated. That's not what these things do. These things imitate the dead. Come back as people you know, or knew, I should say, not actively alive there. And so I don't believe that they would imitate him. That just makes no sense to the way that they operate, at least so far. Anybody else? Any thoughts on that?
Not really, no.
The one thing, and this really doesn't have a lot to do with what you just said, but this has bothered me, is the death of the priest. Okay.
Yeah, I thought it was a wasteful death.
That priest, that priest was, I think, vastly underused, and there was a lot of potential there. But
well, I wanted to know more about his backstory too. I was very fascinated by his character, and then they just like abruptly slice his throat and he's dead. And I'm like, fuck, man. He had a stupid death too. It was a dumb death. He shouldn't have been killed like that.
Yeah, that's true.
So nothing irritates me more than intelligent characters having stupid deaths. Horror, one thing I've learned from horror, the best horror out there, Alien, 1978 or 79. Even when you do the right thing, even when you do the smartest thing, you can still die. That I like. I like it that when they get taken out, in Alien is an intelligent horror film written in a way where nobody has a stupid death because everybody's trying to stay alive. And in this one, he's out there turning his back. Nothing irritates me more than people turning their back to things. And that's what he did. He turned his back and then spun around. And it was like, well, of course, he got fucking sliced in the throat because that was written badly. It's like people going into a room. And Blacklist had this happen with Liz. She walks into a room. She's fully armed.
Detention for Dawn.
Yeah.
No phones in class.
So in the
Yep.
show,
Yep.
so in the Blacklist, Liz goes into the room and finds the monitoring room for that apple-eating motherfucker. Okay, and she turns her back on an open door. Look, one of the first things they beat into your head in the military is situational awareness, and never put your back to anything that could be a potential threat. Keep, one thing he used to tell us: the walls are your friends, man. Hug a wall. Hug a wall. Were you taught that, or no? That's more of a more modern military.
What do you think?
Well, I don't know, because I just don't know. I know some of the training that Army Marines went through, but I don't know if urban combat was something that was really focused upon with us.
Well,
Whereas
we
I don't
weren't
think so with you
dealing.
guys.
We
Yeah, you
weren't
were doing
dealing a
jungle.
lot with urban.
Yeah, it was jungle. So you guys weren't trained to hug a wall. In fact, in the what is that book? Fields of Fire. You have that one lieutenant that goes up to a grass hut, throws a frag in, and then throws his back against the grass hut wall.
And he frags himself.
He frags himself.
John Kerry fragged himself.
Yeah.
With an M79.
M79 grenade.
Dumb son of a bitch.
Yes, he did. He was
that being said, we need to go on break.
Yeah, it's time for our break. We're going to be leaving here in about 30 seconds. We will be right back to finish up talking about From, and then we'll get into Florida Man. Screw it, Bill. Take us away. Hi, guys. This is Gary from Pop Culture Minefield here on KGRA, and we're leaving for our first break. I hope we survive.
Did you know 75% of
Hey members, the new KGRA DB app is now available on iOS and Android devices. Gain on-demand access to any KGRA DB programming. Download any show directly to your mobile device to listen or watch on the go. Go to the App Store and search KGRA DB.
Oh, wow. We survived. Welcome back to the commercial break. Now for some more Pop Culture Minefield on KGRA. Blah! We're back. So we're still in the middle of talking about From episode 2, season 2. And we have the incident with everybody, like just the chaos of the new people not listening to reason and fleeing out into the streets of the town in the dark. And we start watching some of the people get attacked and killed.
They freak out when they hear the monsters.
Yeah.
Because they've been told that they are stuck. Everybody sees the tree and then ends up in the town and you cannot leave. So they know their situation, but they still don't really believe it, because once they hear the monsters, they just start freaking out.
And of course, the young couple, the sheriff's son and his fiance, are trapped in, I think, the post office, right? And they're surrounded by these things. Like, come on outside, it'll be okay.
Oh, Fatima is absolutely freaking because she knows there's still people from the bus out there, and she wants to go out and warn them. And he just keeps dragging her away from the window because there's nothing she can do. It's too late. Once the creatures come out, you can't save the people.
And in the crushed house, which crushed in a way that's not natural, it's really bizarre. They break through the barrier into I don't think that's just underground. I think that's an alternate world. that they dug into, and it's got its own gravitational pull that pulled that house down. And so the dad is trapped into, the bartender is trapped in there, and this guy from the bus who's just screaming every time he gets crushed a little more. He's dying. And the bartender's trying to talk to him.
He's trying to get to him, but he's so stuck he can't get to him.
Yeah.
And they both try to just keep him calm because shut the fuck up or they will find us. And he just doesn't understand anything. He's in pain.
No. And he dies. Eventually he succumbs to his wounds, but the damage is already done. One of the things has hurt him, and works their way down there and gets the bartender and kills him.
Why and how does the dad survive though? That doesn't make sense, really.
Well, he's in a different spot. They're not in the same spot. So he didn't scream out or anything, so maybe they're not aware he's there. But then we, like back in the diner, they've got confrontations. The one dude's got a gun, the loudmouth annoying. And that's the thing.
He disarms the deputy.
Yeah, I thought he had a gun. No,
he disarms
he does.
the deputy.
He has a gun. He does later. You find out he has a gun, and Boyd unarms him and takes his, I'll take that. And but he does. He grabs the deputy's gun and puts it up to his head. And what's her name? The head of Hilltop.
Donna.
She's got that 12 gauge pump. And I thought it was weird. TV shows and movies do this all the time. There should have been a shell already jacked in that thing. Otherwise, that weapon's pointless. But they do it for dramatic reasons. She jacks a shell in there. Remember, I went back like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
It's like, how is that not already loaded? And then it's like, okay, I guess it wasn't loaded. It's like, well, that's kind of stupid with you when you've got things around you going on.
But it's a powerful scene because the dude from the bus holds the deputy at gunpoint and says, so now we're doing what I'm saying. And what I'm saying is we get out there and help these people.
And she says basically, you shoot him, I shoot you.
She tells him, then you have to shoot him because there's no fucking way you're opening this door.
Yeah.
Then there's a knock on the door and he's distracted for a moment and the deputy gets his gun back.
Now, at that very point in time, the first thing the deputy should have done was Jack slapped that guy with that 9mm from one end of the diner to the other.
Oh, yes.
Right across the bridge of the nose first with the grip. Bam, right across, or take the barrel and smack him with it. Because those pistols have got some weight to them. And they feel good when you get hit.
But that deputy he's basically a cherry boy, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, he's a puss. Not somebody I'd want to have my back in a given dangerous situation. But so that situation calms down in the diner, but shit's still going on in the street.
Yeah, until the monsters get the guy under the house because Julie hears that and she absolutely freaks out because her dad is under there too. Yeah, they hear the other guy, the bartender, die. And they don't know it's just the bartender.
Yeah, just the bartender.
They don't know that.
He's a throwaway character. He's a throwaway character.
They hear people screaming. They hear screams come from the house. So, of course, she assumes the monsters found her dead and got to him.
By the way, to go back, because the next scene is when Boyd gets infected. And you don't know. It's just my blood is your blood now, basically. And it's his curse now. He's cursed somehow. But what the fuck is he cursed with? He's like, what the fuck just happened? And the guy just dies. He just collapses and dies.
Well, he doesn't know until the next morning when he sees those things in his arm.
Things under his skin.
When they leave the truck, he sees that stuff is happening to him.
But this is a scene where he grabs one of the torches and he goes for the door. And the minute he goes outside the door, he's suddenly in the woods and amidst an old castle ruin. And again, I'm telling you, time travel. And those things are in the woods.
He sees people walking in clothes
from a different era. Oh, and one of the dogs.
And the dog finds him, yeah. The dog finds him and runs away and he goes after the dog, I think.
Now, those dogs are interesting, okay?
They are.
Exactly. Where in the world did they come from? And where are they living? You don't see any dogs in the town. Nobody has a dog in the town. And if they could, I would think that would be highly desirable, don't you?
Oh yeah, especially with those creatures. But I got the feeling that do they belong to the little boy in white? Because we've not seen him this season so far. And but both times we saw the dogs, we also saw the boy in white.
Victor tells Tabitha Joe that the boy was gone for a while, but he's back now.
And there's also a whole lifetime because he was a child there. He was the child that survived the first slaughter that is mentioned, right? But there had to have been people there after that because it seems to be they always bring people in. So I wonder how many towns he's watched get destroyed. I'm very curious. Or was he left there alone for a long time? Which would explain why he's so backward.
Possible.
Cam comes in the house.
Hi,
And
Cam.
Cam, what's up? Now I'm going to point out something else that was trippy. The creepy looking smile guy that you can see on our screen here down at the bottom right makes his appearance this episode, and he gets on the bus and he starts the bus up and he pretends to be steering it and
He's
then hits
playing,
a switch.
And then he realizes there's people in there and he goes to kill them.
That was a really weird scene. Like, what was he doing?
Playing, I think.
It looked like he was really playing bus driver.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't interested in killing or eating. He was interested in playing bus driver.
Well, he looked very happy when he found that old couple in the back.
Oh, he was overjoyed when he hit that, he hears him, turns on the light, and he's like, hey, let's play.
And they're like, we're so glad somebody found us. And then he digs in.
He's like, I'm glad I found you too. Yummy,
Yeah.
yummy. But why do they eat innards? Why do they eat guts?
Yeah, right.
They eat organs. They don't seem to eat the meat. They're interested in
They
the
leave
organs.
the corpses with the chest split open.
Yep.
And
It's
all
like, is that
the organs
because,
missing.
Is it because they're playing? Is that all they're doing? They're eating for fun? Or is there some other point behind this? I just don't want the typical bullshit J.J. Abrams mystery box stuff where they create a mystery and then never give us the answer, because that's just bad writing. And I want an answer for this stuff. And JJ is such a cunt for being like that in his writing. People don't care. They just want the adventure. No, we want to know what's in the fucking box. That's why Brad Pitt's character goes, "What's in the box? What's in the box?" We got to know. We want to know. No matter how bad it is, we want to know. And that's just purely JJ's misunderstanding of audiences and proof of it, that he thinks the mystery box is what we like. And it's dumb.
Well, people like Abrams, have they ever really lived a real life?
No.
Have they ever really been out among the great unwashed? Okay.
No, you get the feeling they live in their own world.
And of course, he's a Spielberg acolyte himself. JJ is, and Spielberg's another one. He was a child filmmaker, a child prodigy. Now, he went straight into doing TV and then film, and he's never lived an actual life. He loves to tell stories about other people, and never experienced it himself. That's why he'll never be a writer. And when he tries to be overly creative in his stories, I think they're weak. The Fableman's the good example. It's basically his biography. It's his film about him and his family. But anybody who knows how to write and how stories are structured will tell you that the film is nonsensical in the way it was written. But I personally felt it should have been done as a TV show rather than a film, because it does that, because it's told in pockets. Each segment of his life is told. And but there's no greater point to anything.
And I have one question only. Who gives a shit?
It's actually got some really good moments. I love the moment at the end with when he in real life he met John Ford. John Ford was a prick. He was a drunken old man, lecherous old man, and but he's a great filmmaker. And I thought that was always a funny story when he told it. And then we finally get to see it acted out on film. I enjoyed it. It's a historical film. I like the parts that are supposed to be Phoenix, but those of us who grew up in Phoenix, Arizona, I looked at that. I'm like, I don't know where the fuck that is. It's not Phoenix. That doesn't even look like Phoenix. But they were trying because he grew up in Phoenix for a certain part of his childhood. When they get eaten, they're eaten while they're alive. They're not killed first. These things eat them.
They die from being eaten.
They die from being eaten and attacked. And in episode 3, we're going to get into a very bizarre and very annoying one. Hey, Mark, what's up, buddy? And Shinotsky's here too, by the way. Hope everybody's having a good Friday. Happy Friday.
We covered all the groups of people but the young couple, Brian and Kelly.
All right.
We didn't mention them yet.
All right, let's get into Brian and Kelly.
They take shelter for the night in some sort of gas station or something. And at first, things seem okay. But once the screeching of the creature starts outside, she freaks out. He tries to calm her. And then there's a knock on the door. And she's like, don't let anybody in. She has a bad feeling about this. But of course, he goes and opens the door. And we see how that ends in the next episode.
Yeah, and you hear them outside like, hey, we're really scared and lost. We were on a bus. It's like, you recognize that voice? No. But, and then we get a cut back to, I want to mention, we go back to the trailer, and Boyd is trying to work his way through the woods because he's surrounded by these creatures, trying to work his way through, and he finds the trailer, and they open the gate to pull him in. And the other kid, doesn't he get, you say that he gets found too?
As the moment when Boyd gets into the trailer to them, they see the boy and people after him, and they yell at him to run. And he makes it just in time. Well,
at first, Boyd points a gun at him, doesn't he? Because he's not sure if he's one of these things.
They don't trust him. They don't trust him, but they let him in.
Yep. Joe's Pool Hall. 8-Ball speaking.
Hello.
Yeah.
This is Walter.
I
Walter
hate
Hamada.
that.
City Morgue. You stab him, we slab him. So we get to, there's a really good scene there with Tabitha and Victor. And it is a good scene where we get to see two people who've never really interact with each other. And she's not screaming and panting into the microphone, making us want to murder her.
Thankfully.
Is my pizza ready? No, it's not, man. 30 minutes or it's free, man. Remember back in the 80s, man? That was awesome. Like a lot of telepizza. I worked for a telepizza. That was fun. Destroyed my Wagoneer, sadly. Rusted because there was like in Virginia, that moisture, man. It's like Missouri. It's very humid, and I get splashes underneath my Jeep, and I didn't think anything about it. And God, man, I think it was after a few months of doing pizza delivery, I realized that the entire floorboard under the passenger's feet was rusted out. I got in there to do something and my feet went through.
Oh.
The floorboard. I'm like, what the fuck? No, got up underneath there and it was just completely rusted. I'm like, I thought this metal would be coated for God's sake to handle weathering like that, but it wasn't. Jeep, man. Yeah. Back in the day, Jeeps were not, there was no such thing as Jeep parts. There was no such thing. They were like the 45, man. And you know what I'm saying, Don. There's a reason why when you have a Colt Commando, or Combat, I'm sorry, Colt Combat, and you do this with it, it rattles. And it's the same thing with old Jeeps. Jeeps were made from other vehicles. It was the Frankenstein of vehicles. I miss those days. Now Jeep has all its own parts, everything. So they're like just any other car now. They're not special anymore. But we cut back to the diner, and you got that crazy bitch that was dancing in the rain, playing cards and shit, and they're trying to stay calm. It looks like the sun's coming up.
Yeah, the radio starts playing when the sun's coming
or
up.
It's not a radio, it's a
jukebox.
Fucking jukebox. That thing's weird because it always plays just the right song.
Yeah.
It's like, what's that about? There's all sorts of mystery boxes that if they're not careful, they will lose me in this show. They will lose me if they start doing mystery box shit with me. Because that JJ Acolyte crap they can go fuck themselves. I want a good story. And by the way, this is really shot in a real town. And because I looked it up. the shooting location. I'm like, holy crap, this is part of a real location. It's really cool. Although I don't know how they collapsed that house. I'm assuming that's
CGI. You can tell.
I'm like, well, on set location, there's a collapsed house there right next to the diner, and in real life, there's a house there. So I'm like, I'm not sure how they did that. The bus driver finds the old couple ripped apart.
Yeah, well, they go out of the diner because it's finally morning. Julie runs out to the house next door and shouts for her dad. And
well, I got to tell you that,
answer, but then she hears him finally.
Right. What, Don?
That bus driver really irritated me badly.
Yeah, not just you, Don.
What? Did her jets cool down or what?
Yeah, she went completely into, I'm now part of this world. And then we finally see, right there at the conclusion of the episode, Boyd stop as they're running back towards town. He stops and looks at his arm, and that's when we see the worm things under his skin, confirming that he is infected with that guy's blood. And I believe that that's why he didn't die. And it doesn't have to eat. These things kept him alive.
Yeah, and he's running after Tabitha because when they leave the truck, the kid tells them the people from the bus, they were all in the diner, but then the house next door collapsed, and Tabitha didn't know that her house collapsed. So she runs off because she knows that he was digging.
Again, I wanted to bring this up that we see these things under his skin, but not only do we see it, Victor sees it.
Yeah.
Because Boyd turns around and there's Victor looking at him like, okay. And he turns and he shuts his trailer and just like, and Boyd knows he saw it. He knows he saw it. And so let's get to town, he says. He tells them, let's get to town, and they leave. And so they all head into town. And I don't think we see them go to town this episode. That's all next episode, right?
We just see them on their way to town.
Yeah, on the way.
And the people in town are busy digging the dad out from under the house. And the bus driver goes on her bus and finds the murder scene.
Any thoughts on this episode, guys? Good, bad?
Well, I was just thinking next week we ought to do episode 3 and episode 4.
So do 2. Okay, so we get caught up.
We have time. We're done with Hello Tomorrow. So it's just Florida Man.
That's true. Instead of doing a new show, we can do that the next week. So, we'll get into Florida Man now.
Okay, guys, I haven't watched Florida Man, so I'm gonna take off. But hey, it's been great. It's been fun. Everybody have a great, fantastic weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, Don.
Okay, guys.
Thank you, man. All right, bye-bye. So, with Florida Man, we are on episode 2?
3.
So, and that episode is called The Truth Is Not a Good Idea. So, you got notes on this one, I hope?
Sort of.
All right. So, let's sum up what happened on episode 2. Because I don't remember.
Well, he knows now that the truck is in the sinkhole.
That's right. Ends with him finding the sinkhole, and he knows it's in the sinkhole. Yeah.
We have this weird opening scene where the news reporter talks about a breakout of a prison or something, and I can't really connect that to the rest of the story. It's so weird.
I don't remember that. So
it irritates me a little bit.
Well, what it is foreshadowing. I'm sure it'll have something to do with it. Because the dude that breaks out of jail, this is all connected to the cop who's now in jail. He got arrested for having, he bought a gun off that kid because his gun got stolen from the airport. So
he wanted a gun so badly.
The gun he buys was used in the commission of a crime. So he gets arrested, and now he's in jail. He's been beat up, and he's in jail
because his wife didn't know she was on speaker when she said, like, they can't do that to you. You're a decorated police officer. And all of the other inmates, they just turn and look at him, and he's in trouble for being a cop in there.
In the very opening scene, as he's walking with his orange jumpsuit, a jailbreak happens with that one dangerous criminal dude with the goatee, and he goes and hides in a closet or something, and it's really fucking crazy. And then he sees that when he comes back out and everybody's gone, he looks up and he sees that one of the floor, ceiling tiles has a ladder up to it. And he goes up there and he fucking just walks right out of the jail.
Yeah.
He's a cop who is now a convict on the run. And it's really funny because you're just watching this life of this guy who's used to having this like very normal life with a wife who apparently, I don't think she likes him. She rolls her eye at him a couple times when he says something, So he's had a miserable life and a marriage with a kid, going to Disney World, or their show's version of Disney World. And his life gets flipped upside down. And now instead of a cop, he's now a convict on the run. So somehow, I don't know how, this is going to lead us to, all points come together. I've got a feeling that all points come together by the end of this show. That's my prediction for this show, because I like stories like that. They did that before. There's another movie that takes place in Florida. I think it was Sigourney Weaver and, or was it Sigourney? Hold on. Tim Allen. There's a crime comedy he did. It takes place in Florida. Big Trouble. Anybody remember that movie?
No.
I was thinking Crawl, but
no, it's Big Trouble. Came out in 2002, and it's a bizarre comedy about this guy. It's just, I don't even want to describe it to you. It's been so long. It's got some great moments, comical moments with great actors. Stanley Tucci is a bit part in it. Tom Sizemore, Dennis Farina, Johnny Knoxville's in this fucking thing. Jack Keeler. Nobody gives a shit. Janine Garofalo, fuck her. Patrick Warburton is in it. Ben Foster, Zooey Deschanel, Jason Lee, Omar Epps. I mean, what a cast in this film. And it's a zany comedy. It absolutely flopped at the theater because it deals with a hijacked plane at some point. And it happened right after 9/11. It came out after 9/11, and people just didn't want to see it. Too soon.
yeah.
And but I still think it's a good film, and I like Tim Allen in it. And that film, the zaniness of it kind of reminds me of the shit going on in this show. Because as straightforward a story as this seems, I mean, we knew that we're in for something different when he gets bit apparently on the dick by a shark. Yeah. I'm like, this is not your ordinary story. And they're really going for the Florida man thing. And that's what they're doing. With the cop escaping jail at the beginning of this episode, it's a Florida man thing. In fact, that's what it opens with his escape, and immediately the logo is over top of him running. Florida man. Only in Florida. I get the joke. I think it's funny. Any other thoughts on the opening scene?
No.
All right. So we move ahead and we meet the main character's dad. He's at the bar.
Well, Dally goes to meet him to ask him for help. And that's when Mike calls her and tells her he knows what a truck is. So she makes an excuse to Sonny and leaves to meet with Mike.
And Deli meets with Sonny at the bar.
Yeah. She wants to get him to help. He's Mike's dad. Yeah. And she goes behind Mike's back.
And then the funny part of this episode is she goes to Mike and go, I think we should get your dad to help, because she's trying to like feed that idea into his head, and it completely backfires.
Yeah, he's like, hard no.
No fucking way. No way. I will never work with that guy. And she goes, oh shit. And she doesn't want to tell him, I've already got him involved.
Well, yeah, he tells her about his plan to get scuba gear and check out the truck. And she reminds him she can't help with any physical stuff, so they need to get someone on board. And why not his dad? And he's like, fuck no. No way.
Because his dad could get the right guys for the job. And he says he'll take it over and rob us, is basically what the son says. And so he has a very low opinion of his dad. And,
but what he doesn't know is that his dad already knows about the money. He just doesn't know where it is because she told him.
And the whole point now is the dad, you don't know if the dad will scam them and rob them.
I would totally trust him to do a thing like that.
And still, you know, he's dealing with these things because he's got his Russian mob boss that he's lying to because he's already told him that she's dead, but she's not dead.
Moss calls him and she wants to hear what he has to say. Mike doesn't really want to talk to him.
And he's eating Cheerios. I love that scene. He's sitting there eating Cheerios. Yeah. The mobster is eating a bowl of Cheerios with cold milk. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so not a mobster character.
He really is not.
But you were saying, I'm sorry.
He asks Mike if he has any leads and also if he found anything on her. And Mike is like, just a sheet? But he didn't see anything and was like, that's not what I mean.
Something for a computer. And
a computer
then we see this flashback. We get this crazy flashback scene. Remember that? She's fighting to get this thumb drive on the ground from a rabid raccoon, and she's using
a lighter and a spray can.
A lighter and it's hairspray.
Hairspray,
as a flamethrower to chase this raccoon away. And she gets the thumb drive.
Moss also tells him about the memorial that he's going to have that afternoon or something, or the next day, because his girlfriend was murdered. And she's amused, but she also doesn't tell Mike about the USB drive. You see it in a later scene that it's hidden behind the frame of the painting over the bed at the motel, but she doesn't tell Mike.
And I'm wondering why she doesn't tell him. And I think it's because she knows he's too nice a good guy, the character, to be letting him in on everything because he'll want to do the right thing.
I really love the dialogue between Mike and Moss when Moss says, it was in my safe and it's not now. And Mike's like, you gave her the combination to your safe? And Moss is like, fuck you.
Yeah. And then, of course, we got that female reporter. She's trying to get the lead desk. She wants, it's like being a violin. You get a numbered seat.
She wants to do investigative journalism.
She wants to do real journalism. And he's like, I'm not going to have it. He goes, you want to do that stuff? Do it on your own time. That's how you do it. And prove to me you can do it, is what he tells her.
He tells her to her face that her job is reading the teleprompter.
Yep.
And it's
a pretty insulting scene for anybody. But he makes it clear to her, if you want to do that kind of journalism, do it on your own time. Prove that you can do it. But
she's getting nowhere because she keeps calling Mike and Mike isn't getting back to her. And that's frustrating her too.
Yep.
She wants to. She's trying. She's just reaching dead ends all the time.
Exactly. And then, of course, we see the son going to the scuba supply, and his dad's parked in the parking lot spying on him, watching him, seeing what he's getting. Because once again, the dad wants to know where they're going. He now knows it's somewhere underwater. And then the son comes out and catches the dad.
Yeah.
Spying on him. He goes, I'm just, hey, what's going on, buddy?
And he's delusional. He tells his son that he's going to take over the operation and cutting him in with 10%. And Mike's like, yeah, what? No,
that's not going to happen. Then walks up with a butterfly knife and stabs his tire.
Yeah.
Because have fun fixing that. Then walks away from him. Follow me with that shit.
But Sonny has something over him though, because Sonny knows that Deli has faked her own death. And he threatens to rat her out to Moss.
Yeah.
So Mike is trapped.
Yeah, because he does it right there. He actually, as he's getting out of the car, he confronts him with the truth. He says, I know she faked her death. And that you told that mobster she's dead.
Well, she's officially dead. It's her, what's it called? It's all over the internet.
Yeah, she's been pronounced dead.
Yeah.
And That's some crazy shit, dude. I really do like this show. And it never stops. It's just constantly moving. I love the movement of the show. It's always
Yeah.
moving.
Also, we find out that the ambulance driver who helped Deli, he's dead. He's brain dead. Because there's a scene in the hospital. I think isn't it his sister, Mike's sister, who's a nurse?
Yeah, because he was in the accident, right?
Yeah. Well, he got hit by the high guy in the police car. And Deli was just waking up in the back of the ambulance, and so she got away. But he was brought to the hospital, but his wounds were too severe. So Mike's sister overhears the nurse talking to somebody relative of the guy that he's brain dead and that they should talk about organ donation and stuff. So that kind of helps Deli that her accomplice is gone.
So now, yeah, and then the next thing, what's his name? Mike has to figure out how they're going to get into this sinkhole because they've got security and there's construction going on there. They have a team there that's trying to clear it, so they can. I'm assuming they're going to try to fill it back in. And there's a church right next to the sinkhole, and it ends up playing a part in it too. The story.
Well, it
but
seems
Mike goes there.
They use it as a storage room and also the basis for the security guy.
Yep. And so Mike is there to just basically do intel. He's reconning to find out who does what's going on here, what's being used for what, so he can basically do what he needs to do at night. And
he has an easy time getting there because his sister's husband is working there.
Yep.
That's how he gets in so easily, and there's not much security. But he also finds out that they are going to fill up the place with concrete in a couple of days. So time is tight to get a truck out.
I can't remember. They were going to bring in a sunk pump to try to drain it for the most part. And then once it gets to a certain level, they're going to start filling it in, and it will push the water upward.
Yeah.
As they fill it in. So, and then I don't understand who the one dude is, because I remember there's another dude, a black dude that's following Mike, that sees Mike, and I couldn't understand who the hell he was at the construction site. He's outside of it, and he watches Mike leaving, and he starts his truck up like he's going to follow him. Is he somebody working for the mobster?
I don't know.
Because like immediately after that scene, Mike leaving the sinkhole, and that dude starting his truck up to follow him, we cut back to the mobster preparing his memorial for her death.
And it's so cringy, the memorial.
It's so good. The balloons, the white, gold, and black balloons. Like, what a bizarre thing, you know? It's like, and then he's like having a cake printed, like her photo on a cake.
Oh, I love the scene with his sister in the kitchen later, and the sister has the piece of the cake with her eye, and she just stabs into the eye to take a bite.
Stabs into the eye.
That was gross.
But they show scenes of the. I think it was what was the thing that the big dude shows him the photos. His lackey pulls out some photos or something, and you see like a slideshow of a dead person. I think it was from the ambulance, wasn't it?
Maybe, yeah.
And I was trying to figure out what that was all about. And there was a dead dude with a hat and a tie. And I'm like, and somehow this plays into, it's just business stuff. But, you know, the gangster's just basically trying to memorialize his late, because were they even fiance at that point? Did she ever accept?
Yeah, I think.
Okay, because I know he gave her a ring, but she got pissed about it because it was clearly something she believed was from somebody that owed him money.
She wanted something
that was original
special.
just for her.
Yeah. Mike's ex-wife wants to get into, because police needs to be at the memorial somehow.
Yeah, she's a minor character we don't see very often, is his ex-wife.
Yeah, but the thing is, these people know all the police officers but her. She's the only one not known, but her boss has taken her off the case because she's Mike's ex-wife. So she shouldn't be working on that case. And she still sneaks into the memorial because she knows the police guys, they're all going to be outside. She's the only one who can go inside pretending she knew her. So that's what she's
by
doing.
the way, the guy that was following him, tailing him, Mike at the sinkhole, was working for his dad. That was it.
Yeah, his dad brings in 2 other ex-policemen. I think he's one of them. But yeah,
and
Mike's
one
ex-wife
who's
learns.
got brain damage.
Yeah, he got stabbed. So what's her name? I forgot her name. Mike's ex-wife. She manages to sneak in and she talks to the big Iris. She talks to the big guy, pretending she knew her from school, and gets some info because she knows now that they are in Florida.
Yeah. So, and of course, the son doesn't want them involved. And Mike's telling him, it's like, you don't get to decide at this point who's expendable. He's kind of letting his son know, you've got this, you're reading this all wrong. And you need to back up. So they do this thing there. It's like the way they looked at it is like right now it's a minor crime. We're trespassing, possibly criminal trespassing. So it's nothing too serious. He says, we're just here, but he says, you're going to tell us what you think's down there. And then he tells him there's a truck down there with gold in it, right? It's gold, the gold coins.
Yeah.
And he says, well, we're going to need to take a dive down. And while they're discussing this, the guy that's brain damaged just takes his boots off and dives down there without any gear.
Yeah. And he finds a Porsche down there and he
finds
claims a Porsche on it.
The Porsche is mine. Porsche is mine. But he finds the truck. It's down there. So they're like, okay, we got to do this thing, and it's going to be a team effort.
Yeah, because they need someone to operate the crane, and Deli needs to take the attention away from she needs to distract the security guy for like an hour or so.
Her job is to be the distraction for the security guard. So she goes there as a girl on the edge, ready to jump into this hole to drown herself. And
but before that, she's settling the disagreement that they have about who gets how much, because she has the last word in that she and Mike are going to get 50% and the others can figure out what to do with their 50% of the share.
Right. So we're now at the point where they've got to get their gear going. She's got to do her job with the security guard. They've got to quickly get in their gear and dive into this thing. The crane, I forget, what was the crane for?
Well, to get the truck up.
To lift it. That was it.
Yeah.
That's right, because
Mike and the other dude were going to dive down and tie the truck to the chain. And then the dude on the crane has to lift it up.
Yep. And it's the handicapped dude. And what happened was he got shot or something that left him mildly brain damaged.
The crane, no, he got zapped.
Was that it?
Yeah. He got rewired by an electric shock.
I just remembered that, something happened to his head. And he's very childlike. He's really kind of funny. I like his character. And
he's not the brightest.
No, because there's this funny moment like where the big black dude is like in the one of those porta potties going to the bathroom, and he's outside like throwing bottle caps or something through the vent on top.
Well, he's trying, and in the end he manages and pisses the guy off.
It gets him angry.
Yeah,
that was funny.
It was,
and it's just a lot of like build up to the event when they're going to have to do what they need to do. And so they're watching the security guard, and eventually she's got to go do her job. And while they're in the truck, that was it. Yeah, that's right. I remember you and I talked about it where she asked him what happened to him. Why is he like that? And he says, well, he was doing security for a building, and he went up to a box and touched the box incorrectly, power box. And and of course it wouldn't work that way. You and I both were like, yeah, you don't get zapped and thrown back like that. But it was still funny.
Yeah, that was for the goof factor.
He gets hit really hard by a main line, and it throws him back and didn't kill him, but it did brain damage.
Yeah, he tells her he's been rewired sort of and lost his wife, but Sonny kept him in the job, not carrying a weapon, of course, so he could retire.
Exactly.
In due time.
And then we cut back to up north, and we're having the memorial, the fucking memorial. And basically, his ex-wife infiltrates the party.
Yeah. And learns that Deli was murdered in Florida and that Mike was sent after her.
Yep. And so then she leaves, but that's when the sister gets into his face and says, lets him know that your party was infiltrated by DEA.
Yeah. She saw
And he goes,
her.
no, it wasn't. She goes, yeah. And then points out who it was and what she did. And this, of course, sends off alarms, even with an idiot. The alarms will go off. Like, why is she at my party? And of course, that scene you were talking about where she sees the eye, what's her name's eye, Deli's eye on the cake, and
stabs right into. Also, we learned that Moss and his sister are planning something big because she is in the government somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And they are planning something.
Yeah. And so we've got basically she infiltrates the party. That scene ends with the sister warning the brother and kind of holding it over him, making him look like an idiot. You know, she goes, I should be running this business.
Yeah.
I remember
she
that.
Makes him look like the idiot he is.
Yep. And he goes, well, I inherited it because Daddy wanted it that way.
Yeah. And then Iris gets her ass kicked by her boss because she went to the memorial against orders.
Yep.
But she proposes to go to Florida and find out more, and her boss lets her go.
And anybody who loved the show Dexter will recognize her boss. She was on the show Dexter. She was the one that took over the precinct in Dexter that he worked in. And so the next scene we see is a father-son scene. With Mike and Sonny, and they're just basically deciding what's going to happen at night, and Mike's realizing I really don't have a choice here, kind of thing, right?
Well, Sonny tells him, you don't have any expertise in this. How are you expecting your plan to work? And then they figure out how to do the whole thing, basically.
And there's something, and I can't remember what was funny about it, but there was a donut in the car.
Between Mike and Sonny, yeah.
There's just this donut sitting there, and he kept looking at it like. I was trying to figure out, like, why doesn't somebody eat that? Why is it just sitting?
Why did somebody put it there without a napkin or anything underneath? That was gross.
Yeah, and then we have the confrontation between the sister and the mobster, and God, there's so much going on. You've got to watch this show, and if you don't take notes, I don't know what we're talking about at this point. Sometimes I get confused because there's so much going on in this show. But then we cut back to his ex-wife being confronted.
I just sometimes don't go scene by scene. Sometimes I just sum up a scene that is split up.
Yeah,
so
but what was the confrontation about? What was the confrontation about with his ex? Because she's in a t-shirt arguing with this dude with red hair. And I think he's trying to insinuate that she still cares about him. I think that was what I remember, right?
Oh, that one. I completely jumped
It's her
over
neighbor.
that one.
I think it's her neighbor.
The deaf guy who only talks sign language. Yeah, she tries to figure out what to do. And he knows that he calls her out on still having feelings for him. She's like, no, that's not what it is. That was, I don't know. It didn't lead anywhere, really.
Yet. Not yet. We haven't gotten past episode 3 yet. But we now cut back to this sinkhole, and they're gearing up. It's nighttime again.
It's night and it's happening, yeah.
Yep, it's about to happen. The dude is hooking up the chains, and she's doing her part. She's over by the edge of the water, and the guy running security finds her. She's just, let me jump, let me do this. And he goes, hey, you know, God will help you. God will help you.
He talks her out of it.
Yeah,
he promises her cookies and tea.
I want my cookies and tea, because that ends up being part of it. Where's my cookies? Well, I gotta go back out and do my job. Where's my cookies and my tea?
What I found weird is her face was all over the news. How did he not recognize her as the girl who had been murdered? That is weird. That's something that
is odd.
Me somehow. Yeah.
That is
she isn't
odd.
hiding. She just got away with murder. Her body is gone. Like, some things don't add up here, but yeah.
Well, she is raccoony looking right now.
Yeah, well,
maybe, I don't know.
Fake crying and stuff. So anyway, that part of the plan works. and she distracts the guy.
She's got him distracted in the church, and she's talking with him, and he's talking about life and faith and all this stuff, and
it actually makes her rethink some of her decisions. That was funny too.
Yeah, it's like she actually is pondering her own decisions in her life, and then he realizes, hey man, I got to get up and finish my rounds, and she goes, hey, you promised me cookies.
Yeah, so because she needs to buy them time.
And so Sonny and Mike are the two that are geared up in the water.
They go to dive down with the chain, yeah.
They dive down with the chain, and they're going to
feed them the chain slowly.
Yep. So they're trying to hook the chain up to this truck, and it should be just easy as pie. Chain it up,
but
crane it up. But
Buzz
then
fucks it up.
Something happens, and it's somebody else shows up on the scene. And I can't remember how they got there or why, but
that's the Steve, the crane operator. He's supposed to be there, but what's not supposed to happen is Buzz telling him about the gold that they're about to pull up.
He fucks up and tells him about the gold.
He thought they were just getting a truck out of the sinkhole for whatever reason. He didn't know about the gold. So now he wants in, of course.
More than just in.
Yeah, the situation gets out of hand. And while the two guys are getting fucked by the chain, because the chain is loose suddenly.
Yeah, because it almost kills Mike.
Yeah, Mike almost drowns, but they get it under control. And the next thing you see is Steve's body floating down with a hole in his head because Buzz got control over the situation.
Yeah, the guy that you think is just so cute and adorable and funny fucking kills that dude off camera, but he kills him. And I was like, oh my God, he killed that dude. Because I was like, when they got back to the surface, I didn't know what was going to happen. I was like, shit.
The last thing you see is Deli going after the security guard because she hears him cry or something.
And yeah, what was up with that? Why was he crying?
Maybe because, I don't know, because of their conversation, it made him feel bad.
Because that's where the episode ends is,
yeah.
She sees him, she's looking through the crack of the door, right? And she sees him, and he's over there just like that. And then it cuts back to them coming to the surface. As they're coming up, they suddenly see the body of the crane operator dead with a bullet hole in his head.
Yeah, well, he comes floating down to them just as they have their situation under control. He floats down.
Blood coming out of his head.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh shit, the dude killed him.
Yeah.
And that's it. That was the end of that episode, man.
Yeah.
I enjoy this show so much. There's really a lot fucking happening in these shows. There's like so many different stories. And the story I'm most curious about, because like, look, what's her name? Caitlin, the reporter.
Yeah.
I don't know where this is going, but somehow I really absolutely believe that they're all coming to a cross point. It's a crossroad.
I really want to watch more because we stopped after episode 3 because then
we've only got
move was happening.
But really good show. And really Clark Gregg, who everybody knows him from as Agent Coulson.
Yeah.
From Avengers and all that shit, and the TV show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Everyone but me, that is.
And I love him. What I remember him from is he plays Julia Louis-Dreyfus's ex-husband on a sitcom she did right before Marvel took off. Oh, yes. And he was so funny on that show. Man, he was the star of that show. Not Julia Louis-Dreyfus. It's her show, but Clark Gregg is so funny, man. He's so affable that he just stole that show. And that's how he got big, is because of Julia Louis-Dreyfus's series. I should introduce you to that show so you can see what I'm talking about, so you can actually like him.
In a sense, it's like a Lucille Ball show because she's
very
so
much
reckless.
Like the Lucy show. Yep, just like the old Lucy show. Yep, it really was. It also kind of reminded me, in a sort of way, of like the Mother-in-Laws too. If you remember that show, Eve Arden.
I didn't watch that.
I love that show. Eve Arden was great in that. That was like one of my favorite sitcoms as a kid. I liked Lucy's show, or Lucille Ball show, because when she did the second series with her name, she brought her actual kids onto the show, Desi and Lucy. Her actual son and daughter were on it, and I love that. It's also the series that really kind of brought Arnold Schwarzenegger to the zeitgeist. It was after the Hercules movie that he did, but he didn't get anywhere, no attention from that. But he got a lot of attention after being on the Lucille Ball show.
You didn't know that.
Yeah. Look it up. Bet there's a video clip of it on you. Bet you. Arnold Schwarzenegger on Lucille Ball. And I think that Jack Benny is the one who sent him, because Jack Benny was her neighbor in the show. And but it's a series. If you've never seen it, check it out. I watched all of Lucille Ball's shows. She was always funny. But anyway, this show is really good. If you're not watching Florida Man, you should be watching it. It's absolutely worth every minute of it. But I guess next week we will get into doing some 2 episodes of From.
That's right. And
So
the
we'll
next
do
one from Florida Man.
From and Florida Man. We'll do episode 3 of that, and episode 3 of From too. Actually,
It's
Hello?
from episodes
Sorry.
3 and 4,
who is it?
Gary. It's
I didn't
episodes
mute it
3 and
fast
4
enough.
from.
I found the clip.
Oh, you found it? Pull that clip up.
Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, we'll do 2 episodes of From and 1 episode of Florida Man.
Yeah, Florida Man episode 4 and episodes 3 and 4 from.
So you found the clip of Arnold on Lucille Ball. Yeah, this is it right here. If we get claimed on, you can turn it up. I don't hear any audio.
Oh, I forgot to share the audio.
Oh, I'm hearing it.
We hear.
Oh, okay.
Arnold fan, man. Thanks for finding it, John.
No
All right,
problem.
guys. This is the end of the show. End of the show.
Yeah, everybody
we-
knows I'm just your second
have
favorite
to
Austrian,
do-
right?
Yes. So we do have TGIF this afternoon. We got Noel from the TARDIS Zone. He's going to be joining us. Karen won't be there, but we'll still do a Geekosity segment. But we'll be talking about a lot of subjects, including, basically, I see that with Kathleen there, it's Star Wars is dead. It's dead right now. We will always have classic Star Wars, but as far as anything new coming from Star Wars, it's over. It's over until she's gone, and it's over until Disney lets go. They got to sell it, because I don't think anything good will ever come from it, ever. I feel bad saying that, but that's just the cold heart reality of Disney and Kathleen Kennedy. So I want to thank everybody for being here. Skywatcher was not just in the chat, he's also here. Andy Morrow, Penny, Sox Bulletins, Willie the Monkey King's Music, Real Wade Nation Gaming, Alex Moore, Dragon Ruse, Cam's Crash Courses, Shanatsky, Mark D with a C, or as I like to say, Mark with a C with a big D. And Lady V Elements was here.
How do you know that?
Monkey Jeebus, because he has a giant D on his hat.
Oh,
You not hung out with him? Jesus Christ. What did you think I meant? Monkey Jeebus, and of course, our good friend, Bouge McFadden. Thanks, guys, for being here. Look forward to seeing you guys this afternoon for TGIF in about 45 minutes. All right,
Bye,
guys. They'll get us the hell out of here.
Those sons of bitches.
Ma, I'm doing a show.